Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about bad code. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, Frederick, I just started working at my first company as a software engineer, but their existing code base is really badly written. How should I proceed? Well, I can only welcome you to the life. This is your initiation. And now, do me a favor. Reflect on all those videos that you watched or the tutorials that you followed on the internet and just feel, as really in your heart of hearts feel, does it feel like that was adequate preparation to deal with what you are now facing? Just do that for yourself. And once you get out of the first initial thought that you're probably going to have, which is that this is overwhelming, this is absolutely horrible, oh my god, how does all of this work? When you finally collect yourself from going into panic mode, you need to start looking into if you have any way at all of finding a mentor or someone who can guide you through the features. This is so hard. It is the biggest mistake of every single software company, in practically all of them in the world, is that they never ever have a process or an idea of how are we going to secure future talents and their comprehension of how the code is supposed to work. You see, what usually happens is that when you're working in a software company, you become the expert of whatever code that you are involved in. You usually become a domain expert in your own right for each part, and you never ever have a good people usually don't understand that this is one of the biggest, and I would say one of the hidden values of unit testing. If you are good at writing unit tests, they actually act as documentation, valuable documentation. They're actually they're in some cases more valuable than documentation, because they not only tell you what the system is supposed to do, they also check that it is doing that thing. And in some cases you might have a high level diagram of documentation which shows you sort of how the system is supposed to work. But in many cases it really comes down to, can you find someone who knows how it works? And the really scary part is if they just fired their own senior developer who has been working here forever and ever, and now it's your job to take over, and none of the other stakeholders have any real memory of how things are supposed to work. I've had this problem in every company I've ever worked in, where even if you talk to your product owner, whose job it is to know how all the features work, they can't remember, because they have no process either for how to keep everything straight in their head, or how to create a solution for what is this feature actually supposed to be doing. They have no specification requirements. They never write those down in a clear format that stands the test of time. They always just do it for the moment. And like I like to say that the scariest thing for any company is if the PO or the main senior developer quits. It's like a nightmare scenario. I really do tell you that it is a nightmare scenario to lose one of those two people on a project, because you basically are then you're going to get in someone who knows absolutely nothing. I mean, a PO that doesn't know how the features work, or it's practically a pointless human being. Like apart from, of course, the grooming and like that stuff, but the main thing you want from such a person is the ability to make decisions. So I don't want to scare you. I just want to give you the reality, and the reality is that you might find yourself in this exact situation. And the only thing you can do now is to, if there's no other person to talk to and nobody actually knows, is to reverse engineer the code. That's what you're going to have to do. I usually like to start at the network layer. I start by, usually there's a UI, I click through and I like look at, okay, these are the main features. You can always get an introduction of the main features at the very least. And then you have to figure out, you have to look at usually the endpoint is where I go. I start at the top of the program, which is in web, that is the endpoint, the URL. And then I work myself backwards. Okay, these are the services, they're doing this and that and this and that and so forth. This is going to take a long time. Even for a senior developer, in some cases it's actually impossible. You can't do it because this code is so arcane, or that the system is doing so many things that you don't really know how all these things fit together. And then of course there are no tests, so you don't really know if you can change this without breaking something else. And this is where it's kind of like watching someone chase a pig in a mud pit. You're just gonna have to get dirty. Like, there's no way around it. You can't do it graciously. Just, you need to catch that son of a bitch, and you're gonna make a lot of people laugh while doing it, and you're gonna feel well. When it comes to coding, at least when you're doing with the pig, you might enjoy yourself, but this is not going to be fun. I promise you, it's not going to be fun. Well, unless you really do want to go through really, really shitty code and feel the because depending on your stakeholder now, if your stakeholder, and this is one of the hardest parts about the veil of non-understanding, because if your stakeholder isn't all that good, they haven't really paid attention to, like, I mean, they don't know what bad code is. They have no idea. So if you're the only person there, and the last guy was doing the job was doing it pretty well, you might actually get fired, because they don't understand that first guy fucked up their code base so bad that now they're in a really bad position. They might know that the code is shit if the system is very flaky, or if they have multiple developers who have sort of complained about the thing. You have all these nuanced feelings that you might give an external stakeholder that is non-technical, that the system isn't all that good or so forth, and maybe they will trust you as well. Maybe they will just understand, oh shit, is it that bad? Oh, okay. But in some case, I mean, I've seen it happen many times where you literally get judged because you got to take over something from somebody else who fucked it up to the point where it's practically unusable. But now that's your fault, because in the world of your stakeholder, they don't understand that concept. They cannot. It's it's completely beyond them, because they have no understanding of how software development works. The only thing that they judge you based on is how fast are you gonna produce the results that I'm asking for, and is it gonna work? The vast majority of stakeholders only think in that manner. So what I want you to take away from this is that if you're dealing with a really shitty code base, you really only have to start chasing that pig in the mud pit. Like, just dive in and start trying your best. Like, you're gonna get really dirty. It's gonna feel horrible, but you have no other choice. You can quit, of course, as well if it's really, really bad, if you feel a lot of anxiety and stress. But this is the only way for you, unless you have, and this I'm gonna be honest with you, I've never seen it. Well, once or twice I have seen people who have tried to achieve this, but I've never seen it at a company level, where people understand that when you ship features, you need a way to document their intended purpose and how they're supposed to work. You don't have to write that comment for every single thing in the system. You just need to know about how it should work. Because if you don't know how it's supposed to work, how can you know if you broke something, if there are no unit tests? Because there's usually not unit tests. It's a very complicated problem, and finding that balance between documentation of features and requirements and productivity is a very tough battle, and many companies just dismiss it. They don't care, and the only documentation that exists is in the head of the people who are working there, and when they quit, you're fucked. You are literally fucked. The only option left is to reverse engineer the code, and I usually do my reverse engineering. I start at the top of the program and then I work my way back, and I take as long as I need, because it's very important that I understand how the code works. And if my stakeholder is unhappy with how slow or unperformant I am, I can't really do much. I can just tell them that, yep, I'm sorry, I'm going to need this time because the system is in the state that it is. And now, well, it helps if you have seniority, because then they're going to believe you. If they're unsure about you, they're just going to think that you're a really shitty developer, and then you get fired. And this is the life of a software developer. This is why we get paid so much, guys, to put up with all of this. Have a great day.